looks like we got ourselves another Chevy. Got ourselves a 96 K1500. So let me turn the camera around and talk to you about how I got this thing or why I have this thing now. Alrighty, so excuse the lighting in here, but I worked on the F-250 for a while. I had a whole set of videos where I was just working on the brakes, and I replaced the booster, the master, the vacuum pump, the ABS modulator, all the lines up front, the front brake calipers, and I would still get a soft pedal every time I started up. I guess that's the reason why there are not many old Fords on the road and there's more old Chevys like these on the road. You know, sorry Ford fans, but I could not figure it out. You know, I had nothing but time on my hands, and I still couldn't figure it out. So, sorry. And then I was going to sell it to a friend, and his dad came along with him, and his dad said the engine had rod knock. I don't want to sell a bad vehicle to a friend, so I said, no, I'm just going to scrap this thing. So I scrapped it, got about $300 for it, so, which was a crying shame. I mean, it was a good truck. I mean, the body wasn't too rusty. The frame wasn't, like, really that bad. I mean, frame on this one is rusty, but it's not cracked or anything like that, so I'll probably get it undercoated before winter strikes, or if winter ever ends in Illinois. So I scrapped F-250, got $300 for it. I had it up on Craigslist for like $4,000 because I wanted to get talked down to $1,200, but I didn't want to start out $1,200, so they talked me down to like $900, $600. I wanted to start out at like $4,000. They think they're getting a deal, but in actuality, I got exactly what I wanted. So I went ahead and some people wanted to trade me. Met a guy who had a beat Dodge Ram, like 200-some-odd-thousand miles on it. Put a new trans in it though. It was a little too beat for me, and I don't really like Mopar. And then another guy wanted to trade me the truck and $1,500 on top of it. It was a really clean K1500, but it had like 200,000 miles on it or something like that as well, so I don't want to take that. This truck, on the other hand, only has 150,000 miles on it. So, if you know these 350 small blocks and these trucks, I don't know what it is, they seem to last for like forever, like $200,000, and so I wasn't too worried about it having high miles, and scored this truck for a pretty good deal. It was $960. I actually gave the guy $1,000, but then I saw I had no gas in it, so he gave me $40 back to put gas in it. And I smell a strong scent of gas, so hopefully it's not leaking somewhere. I'm thinking it might be the gas cap, just all the vapors are escaping from it. So I'm probably going to open the garage door pretty soon and let it air out in here and figure out what's going on with the gas. And hopefully it's not leaking. I really don't want to replace any gas lines, but I'll do it. But I tried my hardest to get that F-250 up and running, but it just was not having it. And I kick myself, honestly, all the time, because I had the K20. It was brilliant. I probably could have swapped an engine from this year truck and had, you know, throttle body injection and didn't have to deal with any carb stuff with it, or just swap it over. But didn't, and now I'm paying the price for it, but at least I got into another Chevy, so that's good. So I'll do a walk around later on in the video. I gotta take the door off the driver's side because I got hit and it won't open, so I bought a new angle grinder because I dropped my old angle grinder from Harbor Freight. I mean, it was like $12, so I couldn't be upset. And while I was running, and it sounds like death now, so I don't feel comfortable with using it. So I just bought another cheap angle grinder. This one's from Walmart, so we'll see how long this one lasts. I'm probably gonna get a DeWalt next paycheck or something like that. Or, well, I shouldn't get a new angle grinder while this one's still working. I'll probably wait for the Walmart one to die on me and then actually get a good one. Which I'm slowly doing that with all my tools, is that when the shitty ones break, I'll just buy the better one. So, yeah, let's get started on this K1500. Alright, so I cut myself a little access hole here, but I didn't realize this, but I guess this is the bar in case something like this does actually happen. It doesn't just go straight through the cab, and I probably should have expected that. So this bar right here is preventing me from getting to the locking mechanism. I can see it behind it, but there's no way I can get to it. So I'm going to try and kick the door open from the inside, and hopefully I can get it. If not, then I may end up having to figure out how to pull the door panel off from the inside, which I probably could do. I mean, I would tear it up, but I've been getting a new door from the junkyard. I'm probably going to get that with it anyway. So I'm trying to save as much as we can, but I guess if I'm kicking, I'm probably going to still tear it up. So yeah, that's where I am right now. So I guess I'll start kicking. Well, the door is off. That took quite a long time. I eventually found out that the striker is just a single little bolt, like on my C10 and my K20. You can't really see that well. That's where the striker was. I ripped the surrounding piece of metal out by accident. I didn't want to, but the door is open, and see, I went through quite a lot of trouble to get it off. And now I'm going to try to take the door off, but I'm not sure if this truck has some sort of anti-theft system or what, but I'm having problems getting that third door open over there. Oh, what the hell? I think I may have accidentally... Oh, wait, you know what I did? This truck actually has lumbar support. Oh, the switch is broken. Great. So that's nice. So I'm probably going to have to get another one of these from the junkyard. New seat. Great. Or figure out if I can just pull the switch off. Go to the junkyard and experiment with that. But I can't get the third door open now. The passenger door was hard to open, but now that opens reliably. Hopefully it doesn't fly open on the highway. So yeah. Alright, so now I've got the driver's side door open. It took a lot to get that off, but I'm facing a little problem here. The rocker panel, which is very rusty by the way, is bent in, so I'm going to have to try and take a board and straighten that out as best I can. I doubt it'll ever be perfect, but as long as I can get a seal so it doesn't, as much wind gets through. I mean, a little bit of wind getting through doesn't really bother me. I mean, I drove somebody, I had the C10 and the K20, which the floorboard's rotted out on, the rocker panel's rotted out on, so, I mean, there's always some sort of wind getting to the cab, so that doesn't really bother me, but now I face a dilemma here. So the little strike plate, I ended up ripping it out of the door, so I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I might try to weld another strike plate on there, but I fear that this metal is so thin that I'm just going to burn through it. So what I could do is either self-tapper it in, or self-tap some screws in, or drill and put some rivets in, or I might do a combination of the two, which hopefully will be very strong. Because I've got a little bit of play, because there's a couple washers. Here, I got one that came off of it, which is pretty thick. So I feel like if I used like 22 gauge and then through the other washer, which is a thicker washer, about maybe that thick, I would say, onto it, I might be okay. But for the time being, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I said, rocker's kind of duffed. So, yeah, that's a shame. But the door is off. I'll show you everything that's wrong with it right now. And hopefully it's only 2 bolts to get it off, because it looks like it's only 2 bolts. But I'm not sure. I'm going to need a crazy long extension or just daisy chain a whole bunch of extensions, what I don't want to do, but I may have to. Luckily, I don't think the hardware doesn't look rusty for the door, so I might be safe there. Alright, let's see. Let me show you the door and everything here. So here's what I'm talking about right here, where the striker went. So I ripped that out. It was a long battle, a long, hard-fought battle, as you can see right here. I ended up taking off the striker in here, and I was hoping it would just fall off into the door. I'd be able to open the door off, and I'd open the door and take it off, and I'd be set. But that's not quite how it worked. I didn't have enough room to back the striker all the way out, because, as you can see, it's really long. And then I couldn't, for the life of me, I think that's completely stuck right there. I don't know how to even get that off if I had to go through that again, because that was the only thing that was holding this door on. Because the door wasn't like held on by friction or anything like that. It was literally just the lock right there. So yeah, I guess I shouldn't plan for an accident, but maybe I should just start riding around with the doors unlocked, so that way if I do get into an accident like this, I can just pull the door off. But here's the rocker. That's pretty damaged right there. I don't know if a board will be able to get that. I'm hoping, well, since that's pushed in like that, I think when I put a new door on, that it should, because this right here is what I was most worried about right here, and that's okay. I mean, the rockers are whatever, honestly, at this point. So yeah, but now I can finally get to the hood release right there, open up my hood, do an oil change. The guy was able to get it open before, but it was a lot of finagling, and now I'll be able to just get it open right away. So yeah, I guess I'll try to take this door off and then see where to go from there, what time it is, and then if it's still, I mean, if it's like 12 o'clock or so, I guess I can go to the junkyard, grab a door, and head back home. So I'll see you later. Alright, so I have got the door off, and that was a pain. And instead of bolts, where it would just bolt on to the body, and I could just take the hinge and everything off, this thing had door pins I had to get out, and they were super rusty. What I might end up doing is head on over to the hardware store and try to find a small pry bar that I can get in there to get around the head of the bolt, or head of the door pin, and just hammer it out. So that would make my job a lot easier. Not decided if I'm going to the junkyard today or not. It's about 1 right about now, and this door has taken up my entire day right here. That was an absolute nightmare to get out or get off. So the only good thing about this is that this will probably be the last time I do the door, so that's good. Well, I hope, or at least for a while. My neighbors are having fun already. I wonder if they've been drinking. Anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. They're charging like $10-15 core at the junkyard for these doors. I don't know why, but I'm gonna take my power mirror off because I'm not sure if the junkyard has that. And I'm gonna look for a model with another power mirror on the passenger side, because the passenger side, the mirror is broken or something because it's just held in with electrical tape. So I'm also thinking about getting the Duramax tow mirrors, which will bolt right onto my truck. I do have a trailer hitch, so I guess the mirrors would still be functional. It's just I'm trying to decide if I want to or not, because the set of mirrors is like $60 on eBay. So it's kind of expensive for my blood, but it might be worth it, honestly. Because if I do actually decide to tow something with this, that might actually be really nice. And tow mirrors are nice because then I could see my blind spot as well when I'm just driving normally. So, anyway, that's it for now. I'm gonna try to get this power mirror off and see where the day takes us. Well, here's the truck running. If you hear something like rattling in the background, it's either that shovel resting against my truck or the bug guard, because the bug guard's missing some screws. Or the back window, because the back window is actually made of plexiglass. I guess they broke the sliding black window. But anyway, sounds decent. Needs an O2 sensor, but I think it's like 30 bucks in Rock Auto. It has a terrible exhaust leak on the passenger side. In fact, when I first started up, you know when vehicles are cold, you can see the exhaust. It was all down the side over there, and I thought something was like caught on fire, but I let it run anyway, just to make sure. And you can see how condensation's dropping out of this pipe, but not this pipe right here. Well, just a little bit, but most of it's dropping on the floor over there, to the side where it's leaking out the exhaust. I mean, it sounds pretty mean, honestly, the way it is. So I thought about getting new mufflers, but I may just leave them how it is. I spilled some oil on the headers, of course, and I still smell that. I'd think it'd clear up by now. But got good oil pressure. It was at 60 when I first started, and now it's dropping down to about 40. I read that this engine either takes 5 or 6 quarts, again with my K20, so err on the side of caution and put 5 quarts in, half a quart of regular motor oil, and then the STP stuff. So that should be alright. I'll go and rev it up a little bit. Yeah, you can definitely hear that that bug guard up there rattling. But it sounds mean though. I'm actually really looking forward to driving this thing. Although I gotta figure out why my cold air intake, I'm not sure if it's because it's sucking air, but when I first started it up, I thought I heard bearing noise, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to deal with that. But then I put my head to the cold air intake that this truck has, and it sounded like screaming. I'm not sure if you can hear me right now. It's still pretty loud. Doesn't sound bad right now, but you might just be able to hear it. And so far, this Glutton sounds like it's a good truck. I assume it's probably up to operating temperature by now. Real close to it. You can see the bug guard rattling just a bit right there. Maybe you can, maybe not, can't. But the noise stops as soon as I hold on to that. Yeah, this looks like a good truck though. I can't wait to get the door for it. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to get the door today, which is kind of a bummer. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I'm going to have to... Are there any screws in this? Is it just that first screw? Yeah, it looks like all the screws on the other side fell off. So that's cool. Or fell off, they didn't put them in. Doesn't look like they put them in even. No. I think they fell out. I'll do something about that. Oh, well. I'll leave this open still, because I gotta check everything out. Alright, so hello YouTube. I'm back again. eBay, unfortunately, kind of pooched me on the locks. I'm gonna need to order new stuff off of eBay. I already have, they're coming in the mail. The clips, which I found that I needed, because You couldn't reuse the old clips because they were too bent and really too rusty, honestly, to use. And then the clips I tried making with like electrical connectors and stuff like that didn't really hold up too well. So I went ahead and got those off of eBay as well, and hopefully they work better than the other ones, because other ones look like they're maybe for an older style GM or something. I'm not sure, but they did actually fit in the door handle, so I guess it's really I guess it's sort of interchangeable. I don't know. There's probably some sort of custom fab work if you want to get those to work, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to keep this as OEM as possible. And every place I called for a part out when they have their vehicles on Craigslist or Letgo or OfferUp that are parting out, somehow don't have the keys, which is kind of ridiculous to me. Like, what did you do with the keys? Just toss them away when you decided to part the truck out? Like, whatever. Anyway, and then I've been working on my truck. Like, I've been working on different vehicles in my garage for a couple of years now. And, well, probably about a year and a half, I would say. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. And today I was talking to my grandmother, and she said that she started talking about, oh, people are complaining about you working on your truck. People are complaining about me working on my truck when there's loud rap music from the neighbors next door, kids literally sitting in the street, tossing a ball around to each other, bikes laying in the middle of the street, I see kids on their pit bikes and ATVs and quads, running around here, but people are worried about me working on my own truck in my garage and not even playing loud music. Okay. Well, the police haven't gotten involved yet. But if the police try to come over here and talk to me about it, I'm just going to sit up there in my room all day, and I'm going to call like every little thing. Kids standing out in the street being loud, call. Kids playing a ball in the middle of the street, call. And listen, I know the police aren't probably going to come. You know what I mean? Because they have bigger fish to fry. And I actually don't think the police are doing much anyway, because the vape store down the street got broken. The store was open for a total of 2 months. 2 months. Alright? And I was really excited because I was like, oh man, there's a vape store near my house. I didn't go to it in those 2 months. But I was like, I'm glad it's there. I'm going to be able to stop by one day, after work or before work and grab some juice, grab, whatever I need, and I'm out. Well, the store got broken into twice. People were protesting it, and they closed their doors. And the police never caught who broke into the store, even though they were on surveillance. So, I mean, I rarely see, like, squad cars out, really. In the neighborhood, I see it once, maybe, like, every month. So, and that's always late at night. And it's not like I'm working my truck, into the night. I'm pretty reasonable, because I don't have much by way of lights because I'm too cheap to buy lights. So what I do is I just work on my vehicle from about sunrise, which is about, I usually get up around 6 something, the sun's up, get down here and start working, around 7:30, get a shower and everything. And then I go back upstairs around, 5 o'clock or so. Maybe 6 o'clock, it depends. I've gone later. I've gone until 8 before, working on stuff, but it was never like, when it got darker like that, I wasn't doing loud stuff. It was more like I was picking up, cleaning up and everything. So, when neighbors want to complain, that's alright. I can complain too. I have no problem stooping down to your level. So anyway, let's get this show on the road. Alrighty, so I've got a lot of good stuff for this truck. I've got the tie rods for the front end, and I've got the lower ball joints and the upper control arms. So I'm going to start by jacking this vehicle up and take the wheels off. Hopefully I don't have to run out and get a socket, for that, an impact socket for my lug nuts. I think I have the impact socket for it. If I don't, then I probably will having to do that. So let's get started. Alrighty, so sorry about the angle, but I got the old tie rod off. It's the driver's side. I mean, the boot's all cracked. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Boot's cracked, grease leaking everywhere. It looks like it came from the bottom of a river. Plenty of play right here. This is no good. And the bolts, I bet these tie rods are almost OEM or something, because the bolts were practically turning to soup after I sprayed the PV blaster on, and they had so much rust flaking on them I had to hammer a socket on. Look, like I've got that Stanley socket set that has the splines on it instead of it being a 6-point socket set, so that worked out really well for me. So that's done. I'm gonna unpackage the new ones and we'll be good to go. And of course my neighbor's working on a deck right now, so how fun. See you later. Hello YouTube, I'm back. So anyway, my work's kind of hit a wall. I got the tie rods on, but the ball joints are proving to be pretty difficult. What I've got going on right now is that I need to, I was trying to get the upper control arms off because I figured, well, just be good to replace them while I'm at it. And the bolt, like, it's in such a tight area that I can't even get my impact in there. And even with the joint, I can't even get in there that well because the joint just, I'm not sure if it's just because it's Harbor Freight, but the socket will slip off the joint and then usually go shooting off in some direction. So yeah, that's always fun. That's how I've lost a lot of sockets, actually, where I've gotten a bolt or something stuck in it and I, chuck it on the ground to try and get the bolt out, and then the socket just bounces off, and probably in here somewhere, so I'm sure when we move I'll find a lot of sockets in there. But anyway, at this moment I was trying to get the O2 sensor out because that's the only thing that's causing a check engine light in this truck. But that is super rusted or super corroded in there, because I think the body of it's supposed to be aluminum or something, but I cannot get that free. So I want to make sure that it's not like reverse threaded or something like that before I take the crescent wrench that I can get on there and then wail on it with a hammer and see if I can't break that free. But then again, I feel like if I do that, then it might break the exhaust manifold or something too, so I'll have to see what I can do there. And I've got rust in my eye from under the truck. It's not as bad as the Ford. The Ford, the kid who owned it before me, it seemed like he sunk it in a pond or something like that, because there's always sand and dirt and little bits of like grass or something in my eye along with the rust. So I mean, the rust is okay. I actually think it's fallen out by now, but I still feel something in here, so I may have to go upstairs and wash my eyes out. But yeah, so at this moment I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna take a little bit of a break and try to figure out what to do about that O2 sensor, because I know if I can get the O2 sensor today, I'll be happy, because I gotta order brake stuff anyway, so I can't button up my truck right now. So yeah, that's what I've got going on right now, and hopefully when I come back I'll have the O2 sensor. Alright, so here's what I'm talking about with the rusted upper control arms here. So that in there is where it's too tight for me to get all my impact in. So I may have to see what I can do about that. Probably just get a better joint set or something. I'm sure there has to be an easier way, because I can barely even get my socket in there my socket wrench in there to get on that bolt right there. That's an absolute pain. So that's that right now. I'm letting the PB Blaster work its job underneath the truck right here. So hopefully that'll be ready to come out in a few. Alright, YouTube, how's it going? Another beautiful morning here. So I've got the other side on. I've finished the other side, did the ball joints. Didn't get any video of that because I forgot to charge my camera. I also forgot to charge my camera again, but it still has about 65 minutes worth of battery life left, so we're going to try to bang out the video today, at least getting the fronts done. Kind of strange doing disc brakes because I had only done them once before in my C10, and I don't quite remember how all that went together, and I'm pretty sure that because the brakes in that, the bearings were inside the actual brake disc. So when you put it all together and put the axle nut down, that held the disc in place. So with this, it was kind of weird just having the disc just kind of like float in there. And I looked in line to make sure that was actually what was supposed to happen. So it turns out it is. That's good. I had a little trouble with the other side. This side, the ball joint nuts were terrible to get off. I used a nut cracker on the top one and broke it into two pieces because when I tried to break into just one, it still wouldn't budge. So I had to break it in two and then break the nut entirely off. Well, those nut breakers aren't really that good either. Well, I'm not using them right or something, because I used an impact with them thinking that, okay, they must be rated for impact use, and they certainly aren't. They just break apart. So, which is a shame. I was looking for my receipt from Menards, but I can't seem to find that. Probably got accidentally thrown away, so that's about $20 down the drain, unfortunately. In fact, the bolts are so tough that I had mangled the bolt using a nut breaker, and I bought a propane torch from Walmart, and still I wouldn't get it. And I started using this pipe wrench here, but as you see, it actually kind of shattered on me. I was using the handle for my jack for more leverage, and I was like, yeah, this thing's starting to go, and all of a sudden I just hear pop, and this thing flings across the garage, and all I'm left is the other part on the other side. And then I have, in the Stanley set, they have a 1/2-inch ratchet in there, and I was using that, and that too also broke. So I'm not sure what about the pipe wrench. I think it's just generic Sears, and since Sears is going out of business, I'm probably not going to even try to pursue possibly getting any sort of tool out of that. I'll just buy another pipe wrench. But the Stanley set, I'm actually really disappointed about. It probably wasn't supposed to be used that way. I'll be completely honest, I should have gotten a breaker bar. And I had a breaker bar, I just don't know where it is right now. So maybe that's more my fault, to be completely honest. I should have probably gotten a breaker bar, at least a 1/2-inch breaker bar. So then that way, if that broke, I'd just go and get another breaker bar. Not have to figure out, well, what am I going to do with the Stanley set? I think the Stanley set has a lifetime warranty on it. So I don't know if I have to go to some place that sells the socket sets and be like, here, I broke this. Or what. Maybe I'll just contact Stanley online. Sorry, it's a little bit dark in here. The garage light just went off. But we're doing really well. We're moving a pretty decent clip. I got the shock on the other side. I just use these. For now, I'm just using the cheap Monroe shocks just to get me out of the Bilsteins, because the Bilsteins, here's one right here. These are the factory Bilsteins, which I'm almost certain of, but it is all types of nasty. I'm not really sure if you can see that well. That doesn't really help, but it's all types of nasty though. And I do not want this thing exploding on me or anything when I'm driving. So I figure if I'm under there to do the ball joints and tie rods, I might as well do the brakes, and I might as well do the shocks while I'm at it too. Just get everything out of the way. Wheel bearings feel good, so that's good. I didn't want to have to do those. So when I'm done with the front, I'm going to flip the truck around and do the rears. I'll probably make that a different video series, or I may just shoehorn into this one since the rears aren't going to be anything except just, you know, zip with the impact and take them off. So that's where I stand right now. I'm about ready to press out the ball joints. So this should be a pretty good day. Hopefully I'll get the rear shocks done today and won't have any sort of mishaps. I've pretty much got everything I need here to take them off. I got my impact, I've got my torch, and I've got leverage. So those bolts shouldn't be a problem. And I also got my angle grinder too if they really are stubborn. But I'm gonna try to refrain from going straight to a nuclear method and just start off with the impact. If that won't work, then use leverage, and if that won't work, you know, heat. I mean, PB Blaster, of course. I sprayed PB Blaster on the bolts like when I first got the truck, so I'm gonna spray it on them again and then try again. So yeah, let's get started. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but you can see how crusty those bolts are on the control arm. I don't think they're OEM, because the OEM, they riveted them in. So the control arm itself, or either the ball joint, is new, but of course it's completely blown. There's a boot, there's all that play. So bottom one's about the same story. So yeah, unfortunately I gotta get started. Or well, fortunately I get started, and unfortunately. And then there's that, there's part of my body harness like right on the bottom of the header. So it doesn't have much give to it, so I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to be or not. So yeah, let's get started. Take a look at that. Both sides are done and on the ground. So I'm going to drive it out into the cul-de-sac. I'm going to turn it around. You know, I can't wait to see if it feels any better. I wonder if the steering's going to still feel like it has like a dead spot or something in it, or feel like it's going to go all over the place. But yep, it's done, and it's ready to get the rears done to it.